Welcome to Infinite ISKS, the Hindu simplified for UPSC and KPSC KAS. Let's see important topics of the day. Retrospective environmental clearances, US Russia sanctions tariff bill, Karnataka appeals Kaveri release order, Kaveri distress sharing formula, E20 fuels and BS3 vehicles, BWSSB AI robotic water pilot, Jan AI cafe at HD Kote, guidelines issued for planned re-entry of space for space vehicles, BRICS Summit operations, Lok Sabha passes paper leak bill, Vande Mataram amendment bill, private R&D research and development spending exceeds government research and development spending, proposed Houthi Red Sea transit fees, Gulveer Singh wins 10,000 meter silver, 6 Indian boxers enter semi-finals, Harjinder Kaur wins 69 kg silver, Toor and Samarthi enter shot put final. Indian teams reach various finals in table tennis. Let's see the first topic. Supreme Court restricts retrospective environmental clearances. The Supreme Court squashed with prospective effect the Union Ministry's 2021 Office Memorandum that created a continuing route for the granting environmental clearances after project had already begun operations. So what actually the court has held is that prior environmental clearances under the 2006 notification is mandatory for sectors such as highways, airports, real estate, townships, mining and resource extraction. An administrative instruction cannot substantially alter or replace the delegated legislation such as the 2006 notification. An amnesty scheme may be used only as a rare, time bound exception for a defined class of projects whose continuation serves supervening public interest. The 2021 mechanism had effectively created a permanent parallel route and encouraged a pollute and then pay approach rather than sustainable development approach. So this is what the court held. Okay. Prospective effect and the existing project. The court applied the ruling prospectively to avoid disrupting ongoing public projects, including Vijaypura Airport and specific medical rehabilitation and irrigation projects. Clearances already granted under the 2017 one-time amnesty notification and the 2021 OM remain valid unless challenged individually. The center cannot issue future administrative orders granting post facto clearances. The Supreme Court's plenary power under Article 142 remains unaffected. So this is what the prospective effect and with respect to the existing project which the court has highlighted. So next move on to the another issue. US Senate fast tracks tariff bill targeting Russia energy buyers. The legislative development we can see here, the US Senate voted 86-12 to invoke the cloture and advance the Lindsey O. Graham sanctioning Russia and Iran Act of 2026. The cloture limits debate and accelerates the movement of proposal towards a vote. The original proposal contemplated a 500% tariff. The revised version provides for the tariff of up to 100% on the five largest producers of five largest purchasers of the Russian crude oil and natural gas. So the India's exposure with respect to this will be, so India's share of Russian crude exports is around 36% to 38%. Russian oil in India's imports as of May 2026 a little above 40%. Russian oil in India's import as of June reported as more than half. Potential policy instrument targeted tariff linked to Russian energy purchases. Why it matters for the India? So discounted Russian crude oil has lowered India's import bill supported energy security and helped contain the inflation. If the US brings such a bill, it will definitely matter for India and it will affect India's economy. The proposed measure reflects expanding use of trade restriction and economic sanctions to pursue strategic objectives. So that is why it is very important for India. So let's move on to the next topic. Kaveri dispute. Karnataka appeals. Kaveri Water Regulatory Committee released direction. Karnataka has decided to appeal before the Kaveri Water Management Authority against the CWRC direction to ensure 3,500 cusecs daily at bilingual for 15 days. The CWMA apex implementation body for the Kaveri water release was scheduled to review the appeal along with hydrometeorological conditions and inflow deficits. Karnataka consulted its Advocate General, legal experts, and officials and proposed an all party meeting on the issue. Why source release may have to be higher? The prescribed 3,500 cusecs is the flow to be released at Biligundlo, not merely the quantity released from the reservoirs. Because the intermediate catchment and riverbed are extremely dry, the Kaveri Water Regulatory Committee chair stated that Karnataka may need to release about 6,000 to 6,500 cusecs from its Kaveri reservoirs. The reported deficit was around 60% in net flow to Karnataka's reservoir and around 90% at the Biligundlu. So if you can see some of the facts related to this, you can see observe here. So need for the distress sharing formula. So the Kaveri Water Regulatory Committee chair asked Karnataka and Tamil Nadu to work out and place before the regulatory bodies a permanent scientific distressing formula. The committee said the temporary release calculation considered rainfall, reservoir inflows, long-term averages and the meteorological inputs. So that is why we need a permanent and scientific water sharing formula between these two states. That is what the chair has highlighted. So next move on to the another news issue. E20 petrol, E20 fuel limited component changes may be needed in BS3 vehicles. Government statement. Testing indicated that some rubber parts and gaskets in BS3 vehicles introduced from 1 April 2005 manufactured before 2006 may require replacement when E20 fuel is used. Replacements were described as manageable during routine vehicle servicing. For vehicles other than identified BS3 category, the study did not find a need to modify car or two-wheeler engines. Study and performance factors. The study involved Indian Oil Corporation, Indian Institute of Petroleum, the Society of Indian Automobiles Manufacturers, and the Automotive Research Association of India. The detailed study had not yet been made public in the report. Mileage and performance also depend on driving habits, maintenance, tire pressure, alignment, and air conditioning load, not fuel type alone. This is what the study has actually disclosed. Let's move on to the next topic. AI and robotics for Bengaluru water management. BWSSB launched an AI robotic led water management pilot in Bengaluru South Zone for 1.5 years. Robust robotic system will inspect the supply infrastructure, identify pipeline defects, leakages, and send real-time alerts to the officials. It aims to reduce non-revenue water and improve operational efficiency. The pilot will be implemented with the Smart Terra, Solinas, Willgrow Innovations Foundation, Titan Companies Limited, Designs Impact Award Program under the MOU signed with the BWSSB. So next move on to the other issue. Jan AI opens community AI cafe at HD Kote. Jan AI, an initiative of the Head Foundation, opened its first AI cafe at HD Kote in Mysore district. Center is located in a millet cafe run by the woman from Jenu Kuruba community in partnership with the Swami Vivekananda Youth Movement. It is designed as a trusted community space where residents can learn, use, and develop a solution for the local problems. Community-led model. 18 local AI ambassadors have been trained to identify problems and support the solution building. First center will focus largely on solution for women developed with women's participation. AI index developed with Wipro will track adoption, use cases, and economic value across farming, healthcare, tourism, education, and women's entrepreneurship. Five pilot AI cafes are planned in Mysore district. The next center at the T Nasirpura was also is scheduled for the August. In August, let's move on to the another issue. In space issues guideline for planned re-entry of space objects. Scope of authorization. Any planned re-entry by an Indian entity, whether within or outside the Indian territory, requires authorization from InSpace. Non-Indian entity must seek authorization through the Indian incorporated entity. Objects specifically designed to survive re-entry are deliberately planned for re-entry fall within the authorization framework, which is what the agency has highlighted. Exemptions and safety standards. Natural orbital decay undertaken as part of the post-mission disposal does not require separate authorization when the object is expected to burn up or fragment and surviving debris is minimized. Re-entry must minimize risk to people, property, and the environment on land, at sea, and in airspace. The expected casualty risk must remain below 1 in 10,000. A notice to airmen must be obtained from the relevant authorities at least 45 days before a planned re-entry. So that is what the issue. Let's move on to the next topic. Our news. India prepares for expected Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin visits. This is with respect to the BRICS summit, which is scheduled in the month of September in Delhi. Big summit. India was preparing for the expected attendance of the Chinese and Russian presidents at the BRICS summit in Delhi on 12th and 13th of September. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri held talks in Beijing on strengthening high-level interactions, managing differences, expanding political and people-to-people contact, academic and think tank exchanges. Chinese officials visited India for arrangements on security preparation connected with the high-level visit. The diplomatic significance you can see with respect to this issue, Xi Jinping's 2025 meeting with the Indian Prime Minister in Russia had contributed to a gradual normalization of bilateral relations. Russia had indicated support for high-level participation and backed India's BRIC chairmanship. China also reiterated the support. So this is what the diplomatic significance of the issue. Let's move on to the next topic. Lok Sabha passes Public Examinations Amendment Bill. This was in news frequently with respect to NEET paper leak. So finally the Lok Sabha has come up with the bill and which has been passed. It strengthens the 2024 anti-paper leak law and provides for time-bound investigation and trial of the offences relating to the public examination, and it includes an investigation to be completed within the 2 months. State and union territories may designate session courts as fast-track special courts for day-to-day trials. Bill was passed with the continued disagreement by the opposition party. Implementation record cited in Parliament. The government informed the Lok Sabha that 52 FIRs had been registered since the original law came into the force. It presented amendments as an effort to learn from implementation experiences and strengthen exam integrity. So please do remember that. Let's move on to the new another topic. Rajya Sabha passes bill on disrespect to Vande Mataram. Prevention of Insult to National Honor Amendment Bill 2026 was passed by the Rajya Sabha and will be considered by the Lok Sabha. It seeks to extend 1971 Act's penal framework for disrespect to the national flag, the constitution, national anthem to acts obstructing the singing of national song Vande Mataram. So historical report, if we can note, you can see from here is the Vande Mataram was written by Bankima Chandra Chatterjee in 1875. The report notes that two stanzas were adopted as national song in 1937. Please do remember the facts. Move on to the next. We will move on to the next topic. Private industry share of national R&D spending crosses 50%. India's research and development expenditure reached 0.83% of GDP in 2021-22, crossing 0.8% for the first time since 2009-10. Private industry share rose to 51.8% of the gross expenditure on research and development in 23-24, exceeding the combined contribution of all levels of the government for the first time. Please do remember this. And you can see here the facts with respect to the R&D spending by private sector. Important caveats. The figures were disclosed in a parliamentary reply. The full research and development statistic report had not yet been publicly released. The data series expanded coverage to include multinational companies and enterprises outside the DSIR recognition scheme. The growth in R&D spending coincided with sharp increase in private sector expenditure rather than comparable jump in government science budgets. Yemen alleges Houthi plan to charge Red Sea transit fees. The allegation Yemen's internationally recognized government alleged that Houthis, with guidance from Iran's Revolutionary Guards, were designing a system to collect payments from shipping companies and commercial vessels using Red Sea and Bab el Mandeb Strait. The proposed arrangement was described as involving dedicated entity and a technical administrative payment framework. Strategic concern. Bab al Mandeb is a critical maritime corridor for Saudi crude oil export, especially when traffic through Strait of Hormuz is disrupted. The alleged fee was presented as a risk of converting a strategic waterway into a continuing revenue for the Houthis. So please do remember. Let's move on to the sports section. So sports athletics. Gulveer Singh wins historic 10,000 meter silver. Gulveer Singh won in 21:49:75, becoming the first Indian man to win a medal in the 10,000 meter event in the game's history. Australia's K. Robinson won gold in 21:48:93. David Muller of the Isle of Man took bronze in these minutes. Gulveer stayed with the leaders and made a decisive move with around 900 meters remaining. So in boxing, 6 Indian boxers advanced to the semi-finals. So you can see here the list: Sakshi Chowdhury, Arundhati Chowdhury, Jasmine Lamboria, Sachin Sivaj, Ankush Pangal, Narendra Berwal. So you can see the category and the results which is there here. You can remember the facts. The 6 semi-final berths assured for India medals in each of these category. The report stated that India was assured of 10 boxing medals overall. So in weightlifting, Harjinder Kaur clinches 69 kg weightlifting silver, won the silver in the women's 69 kg category with a total of 227 kgs. Canada's Charlotte Cinnamon won gold with the 240 kg total, including 108 kg in the snatch and 132 kg in the clean and jerk. Toor and Samardeep qualify for the shot put final. So next in table tennis, women's quota, India beats England in 3-1. In men's quota, India beats England in 3-2 against the final opponent of the Malaysia. Shrija Akula played a decisive role in women's victory, including the fourth rubber win that scaled that sealed the tie. Manav Thakkar produced commanding performance as the men completed 3-0 sweep. So this is about the newspaper analysis, the Hindu today. So if you have liked the video, please do comment, like our video, please do subscribe to our channel to get some more videos. Thank you. All the best for your preparation.